Folks, you are not entitled to a career in comic books. Like, I don't know why more people don't say this. I'm really stunned by this, because it's not rocket science. You're not entitled to it because you like it, because you enjoy it, because you spend money on it, because your mother, your father, your uncle, your friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your best friend told you could draw. Does not mean you're entitled to have a career at this. This is the realest talk you're gonna hear, folks.
Hey guys, WhytManga here with a new video, and in this video we're going to go over the little live stream Saturday AM roundtable that we did. The person you just heard speaking is Frederick L. Jones, the CEO of Saturday AM. Also on that live stream were all the co-founders of Saturday AM, myself, the creator of Bully Eater Raymond Brown, and the creator of Saigami, Andrea Doney. You can also check out Andrea's channel. She has a YouTube channel similar to mine where she does manga tutorials and live streams and things like that, and it's called Saigami Project. Please check her out. I think a lot of people are sleeping on her work. Anyways, on the live stream we actually talked about, Saturday AM in general, what it is for those who don't know, as well as our new program called SatAM Submit, which is where people can submit their content that will be run inside of our digital magazines. So for anybody trying to join Saturday AM with your own comic or manga, whatever it may be, there is a way to do that now. And the submission windows are from the 1st to the 10th of every month. If you want to know more about our new program, SatAM Submit, there will be links in the description to all the details you could need and how to submit. And even what the perks are for people who are subscribed to our magazine, whether it be a basic subscription or a premium subscription. Where you'll be subscribed to our magazine Saturday AM and Saturday PM. Now, if you've been living under a rock and you do not know what Saturday AM is, even though I've tried to mention it in every video I've done, damn near every video, we're a digital anthology magazine that features several comics within it. So the comics are done within the spirit of shonen comics, shonen manga, and that genre of mainstream titles like your Naruto's and your One Piece and your Bleaches and stuff like that, Dragon Ball, the list goes on. But it's done with a more Western approach, with a more diverse approach, and there are a lot of things that are done differently within the realm of execution. Saturday PM is much newer than Saturday AM, but where AM is the more action, young titles, more mainstream titles, PM is the more mature. Think of it as the Adult Swim to AM's Cartoon Network. And if you're curious to test these out, the magazine is actually kind of free, because the latest releases of each issue we do now will be available to read on the website. Now, subscribers will get the issues early, subscribers will be able to download the issues and things like that, but you'll be able to read the issue, at least the latest issue, eventually on the website. And then we have a bunch of free issues that you can just go on there and download and enjoy. So for a limited time, if you go to the site right now, you see a bunch of issues that are free to read. In fact, most of the Saturday PM issues are actually free to read right now. My comic Apple Black is published and serialized in AM, and then my other comic BACASSI is published and serialized in PM. And you can actually go right now and read Saturday PM issue 2 and 3, where you can, enjoy the first early pages of BACASSI for those who have not read it. Now, I recommend you read all the issues that are available there, all the PM issues, all the AM issues, as much as you can, and check out all the other content that we have on there. And the way I have the first 6 chapters of Apple Black free on the website, also links in the description, you'll be able to read free archived chapters of each individual series on the website as well. Now, not all the comics have archived chapters, but most of them do, like Massive Multiplayer World of Ghosts, which I think is really cool, Clock Striker, Saigami, Bully Eater, the list goes on, Soul Beat, Hammer, list goes on. And you can also leave your thoughts in the comment sections, and the artists can actually come and check out what you think about their content. All this and more. And in fact, we also have a Saturday FM podcast, which updates weekly. And you can hear our CEO Fred talk about the comic book industry and things that revolve around us, news about Saturday AM, PM, and in some cases he actually goes through comics that you guys send to him and he does like reviews of them. So there's a lot of content that we have. So I highly recommend you check our podcast, Saturday FM. Link in the description as well. There is so much stuff we have going on, and this is just the stuff that I can tell you. There's a lot of stuff that are going on behind the scenes, and brands we're talking to, and brands that are reaching out to us, brands that you know. And so there's a lot of stuff going on, and we're very excited to share a lot of this stuff. So highly recommend you guys check us out. Links to everything you could possibly need will be in the description. Free issues to read, Saturday FM, how you can subscribe, what you get from subscribing. There's also an FAQ, frequently asked questions page, that I'll have linked in the description as well. A new Saturday PM issue is coming at the end of this month. And we have a new roster of content that's coming to our magazines that we will announce pretty soon. So all this stuff and more is what we discussed on the live stream, with the main focus being Saturday Submit, which is again where you guys can submit content to us. Or if you have any creators out there that you think would be interested in this, you can go let them know about SatAM Submit, because it's really cool where, yes, we will have exclusive titles. We will still have that, but we have systems in place now to where you don't actually have to be exclusive to SatAM anymore. You can submit to SatAM, right, and be in the magazine, and we'll plan everything out on our terms and things like that. You'll still own all your property and all your whole IP or your whole content and all of that. And in some cases, you'll be able to post it wherever you want to be, wherever you want your content to be, whatever website you want it to be on. Before this, we only had comics that were exclusive to us, but now moving forward, we will also contain content that is non-exclusive. So not all creators would have exclusive commitments at this point. So I think it's all pretty cool stuff. Now, the live stream we did, if you guys enjoyed, we'll definitely do more. I think the plan now is to kind of have one of these live streams once a month, and the live stream is called Saturday AM Roundtable. And so it's basically a question and answers type deal. You guys send questions to us and we answer them on the live stream, and usually we'll kind of have a key message running through the live stream each time. And if you want to watch the full live stream, I'll link in the description to where you can watch the full thing on the official Saturday AM YouTube page. Please subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on Instagram, at least we're close to hitting 10K on Instagram, so that'd be really cool if you guys help us do that. There are a lot of things we want to do, and I hope you guys, help and support us in creating a new avenue, a new outlet, a new way for creators to kind of break into doing all this cool stuff. Breaking into, I guess, the comic and manga and, sequential art creating industry. And I think this live stream, the one we just did, was pretty cool. There were some really good, interesting questions that we got hit with, and I think we answered them pretty well. So I'm going to show allow you guys, listen to some of the snippets, and then, like I said, you can listen to the full thing on the Saturday AM YouTube channel. But I'll have some snippets here, and then we'll just go from there. Please don't forget to Detroit smash the subscribe button on this channel and hit that bell so you stay notified. And please like this video. That helps the channel a lot. That helps this video get shared and seen by more people a lot. And leave comments if you have any questions. Engagement overall helps the video and channel overall. So I appreciate those who do that already. So here's some pretty cool moments from the live stream.
So again, if you guys don't know, if you're tuning in, you don't know, we are Saturday AM. We're the world's most diverse manga anthology. And so what that means, of course, is that if you love things like Shonen Jump and, characters like Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, we make that type of content. We make it in the same art style, but we do it with an eye towards diversity. Our creators, as you can see, are from all over the world. They're from all different backgrounds. They're not just from Japan. The characters don't just look Japanese or Caucasian. And we're really, really proud of the things that we've been able to build as a result of this. So I'm extremely proud that Saturday has grown the way that it has. And tonight we are giving a discussion about a new program. We've done many things in the last 5 years. We hit our 100th issue. We're now at issue 104. We debuted a sister publication called Saturday PM. We have a gigantic art tournament called March Art Madness, soon to be a gigantic art community called Fan Art Friday. We've discovered an amazing assortment of creators every year, thanks to things like Pilot Manga and Summer of Manga. And we produce graphic novels. A couple of them have been bestsellers. So we've done a lot. We're not resting on our laurels. But this new program, SatAM Submit, is all about taking what we stand for, which is Saturday AM being for everyone. Doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your race, your gender, your orientation, your religion, we make manga for everybody. And that means that we therefore then look to work with everybody. And so that has never been more true than with SatAM Submit, which is a program designed to take what we do so well, which is a brand and an identity, and apply it to creators who maybe have been producing great content on other platforms. So now finally, those creators can work with us without worrying about being exclusive. And conversely, we get to work with them without worrying about taking all the things that we do and trying to apply them to creators who either don't need it or just in a different space than what we can do. And so therefore we can rely on our properties like Apple Black and Clockstrucker, Sagami, and Bully Eater, and worry less about properties that are not our core business. So it's a win-win for everybody. We expect to, as we always have done, to discover some amazing creators from other countries. And tonight we're going to answer all your questions associated with that and other things. Next question. So we're going to go with Whyt on this one. So Whyt, how does one go about getting their manga well known?
This is one of those like huge, difficult to answer in one go question, but like doing my best answering it, I'll say if you're trying to get your content, your manga, comic, whatever you want to call it, webcomic, whatever it is, popular, first things first, it has to be interesting. And you want to make sure that anybody who's getting into it, because there's so much competition and so much content out there, you want to make sure you're making a very strong first impression. I also advise to have some diversity in there, not just for from the standpoint of ethnicity, but on all fronts, whether it be ethnicity, size, gender, and referring to your cast, religion. The list goes on. Where the character is, what genre it is. You want to make sure you stand out, but also represent the world that we live in, and that you will connect with more people that way. So not only is it a morally the right thing to do, but from a business standpoint, it is also the right thing to do. And then you want to take advantage of what, say, creators in the past did not have, and that would be the internet and social media. And you want to be social media savvy on all fronts with all that's out there, whether Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and you learn them differently. They're all different, and you need to do a lot of research to understand how they work and the best way to utilize them to your advantage. And that that takes time, so you need patience. And then once you've nailed all that down and you've come up with an ongoing, good, strong strategy to creating content online and creating even different kinds of content designed to get new eyes to you. Once you've nailed it down, doesn't mean it's actually going to work. You then need to be consistent fully and prepare yourself to be open for opportunity when it comes. Prepare yourself to be lucky to when something does happen, and then everything else starts to take off like dominoes. So consistency, but the first things first, the content actually has to be good, and you need to make sure that that's actually what you want to do in the first place. So to just summarize everything there, there's more to it, but that's my answer.
So that's good stuff. Does anybody else want to add to that at all? Or?
Yeah, definitely, especially the consistency part. That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, so look, I think that look, what I would say is that this question is one of those questions where there's no way to get your manga well known. I mean, just that's the bottom line. Like, there's no real way, because a lot of this stuff, that's like saying, how do I get well known? How do I get successful? The stuff that you have to do in life is the same. I don't care if you're trying to be a bookkeeper, if you want to be a janitor, you have your own janitorial business, if you want to be, the manager at your local fast food restaurant. The reality of all these things is that it takes work. That's just the bottom line. It takes work, it takes diligence and determination, and it takes luck. And so at some point, you can't predict luck. So I think one thing Whyt said that I do like a lot is you have to be ready to take advantage of the luck when it comes, but you can't predict luck. You don't know what's going to happen. We've got some creators who are super talented who, didn't get on social media when they could have, or didn't know to get on social media. And so even though they deserve to have more success and fame, They don't have it right now because, they weren't active on those things. So, ultimately at the end of the day, my rule that I've always told, the artists and that I've always told, a lot of upcoming creators is, look, if you make content to be enjoyed, if you make content to shock people, shock them in the sense that they care about the character, they want to see the character win, they want to root for the character, they get scared if the character's in trouble. If you make content with that in mind, you will build an audience. The question of how fast, how many audience you build, that's all things that it's hard to judge. But if you stick with the fundamental of like, I just want to create a really exciting story that will make people happy, you stick with that, you stay consistent, you do it constantly, and you make yourself available. And then again, the thing that Whyt said I think is dead on is that you be ready, that you put yourself in a position to be ready to take advantage of the luck when it comes. Then you will have success. But we've been at this 5 years. It's always shocking to me when we see that Saturday AM has fans in places that we've never personally attempted to get fans at. Yemen, Iraq, Israel, India, it's always shocking when we see that. But at the same time, as someone who, my job, my career was to take brands like Yu-Gi-Oh! and Armored Core and various video games like Crash Bandicoot, and to make them successful. I can tell you that yes, there's, when you've got a lot of money and you've got TV and all sorts of things, and yes, you can get people aware of what you're doing. But at the same time, when you're working on the webcomic level, trying to get your own title out there, it's tough because you're not going to have access to the money. You're not going to have access to the publicity. You're going everything you do, you're going to have to do on your own, unless you're part of a group like Saturday AM. And even then, you still have to be ready to do stuff on your own and to do things to support the group. So it's hard. There's no real set path to it. Just work hard, be consistent, care about the consumers that you're creating content for, and be ready to take advantage of the luck when it comes. Because when it comes, it's not going to come again. So you got to take advantage of it when it hits the first time. All right. So let's see. We're going to answer a question from Instagram now. Whyt, we'll give you this one. How long do backgrounds take to master?
That's, it's relative. It's different for everybody, and I wouldn't even say that I've mastered it. It's something I don't even know if anybody's truly mastered it. But like, obviously, there are people who are at a very superior level.
I would put the creator Berserk. His backgrounds are, god damn, they're great.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of creators who have a different. There's like a different artist. It's the same series, but like a different artist who is like focusing on that kind of stuff as well.
Right. So not him though. To be fair, not him.
Yeah, I actually don't know, but like if you say it, I'll take your word for it. And so to master it, I'll say the same way to master anything. It takes a long time. It takes years, and it depends on how much you put into it. How much you put into is what you're gonna get out. And regardless of that, especially if you're like somebody who is starting from scratch, if you take the necessary steps and you do the right amount of research, and again, it comes back to consistency, and you're consistent, you will get there. I don't know about mastering it, but in terms of perfection, but like you will get probably to the level that you're aiming at, but it just boils down to how much time you put into it. Now, if you're asking about me particularly, and how long it took for me to get where I'm at, how comfortable I'm at drawing background, the answer is I don't know, 10 plus years. And so I know that I only really like now I get like I do like an illustration, and let's say I want to illustrate a whole freaking city, and you still get that moment of, oh gosh, this is going to take a long time to produce, and it can be overwhelming sometimes. But like recently, especially with the recent pages I've been working on, I'm more like confident in my approach, and it took 10 plus years to get to that point. So if we're going from me actually taking comic creation seriously, which is like maybe late 08 or early 09, and to now, I say like 10 years.
10 years.
So, but it's different for everybody, because during those 10 years, I wasn't like focusing on, oh, I need to get better on backgrounds, you know? So it's different. I went to school, I did a bunch of other stuff, but it's just how much time you put into it. You can probably knock it out in much shorter than that. I've seen people do that, knock out and be comfortable drawing backgrounds in a shorter amount of time, knowing when to put backgrounds, because they're knowing your style and actually knowing when to implement backgrounds. You know, if you open a comic, you don't see backgrounds every single time. There are times where there's a certain skill you get to where no background is actually the answer. You know what I mean? And yeah, to figure all that stuff out is just the amount of work time you put into it. And for me, for the amount of time I put in, it took like 10 plus years.
Andrea, what about you? I mean, I know you. I've seen some intimate backgrounds with you, some intricate backgrounds. I mean, what do you attribute in terms of how long it takes to master doing background?
I agree with Whyt's point that it's a long time, and for me, it took over a decade, and you know, I'm still in that phase where, you know, whenever I'm taking on a background, I'm not that confident. I spend more time on it, and you know, it can be really overwhelming sometimes. Because clearly in the beginning I wasn't focusing on backgrounds, so I wasn't practicing them enough. So for me, it really started when I started drawing Saigami in 2013, that I started to focus on backgrounds. So I think it comes down to whether you are dedicated enough to spend time and effort on the backgrounds. Because for some creators, for example, in Atlas article, we will have some crazy good backgrounds. And Ricky is only 21, so he probably doesn't have over a decade practice with his background. But you know, for some creators, it's just easier. For some, it's a slower process.
Yeah, I'll because I'm sure people don't know who that is. So I'll talk about that in a second, and I'll get my thoughts real quickly. But let me complete the triumvirate here. Raymond, I think we would all agree, out of the three of us, you're probably the most accomplished background person. What do you make of this?
No, not even close. No, I'll tell you this.
I art of shadow.
No, no. Yeah, I either do none or I cheat. I use 3D software. If I had to draw backgrounds, I wouldn't even do comics because I don't have time. It's all 3D, and I draw on top of it. The end.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I gotta call Raymond on this. I'm gonna see what Raymond's gonna say. But yeah. Like, yeah, well, guys, in chapter 3, 5 years ago, that killed me.
I was sitting back wondering, I was like, is he really gonna ask me this question? I'm sitting back doing something else, thinking like, surely he's gonna go to somebody else.
Don't worry, I got questions I can ask just for you. No, so look, let me say, because I'm not an artist, so I can't comment on that. And I'm pretty sure what Whyt and Andrea have said is really the most intricate way to look at it. I will say this from a business standpoint, that I think one of the things that is stigmatized as webcomics is that it doesn't feel as complete as a traditional comic book. Now, we all know that is the wrong attitude to have. And I think, as I often tell these guys and tell some of our creators, you have to, first and foremost, you have to believe in what you do. You have to be proud of what you do. If you talk in a kind of low key way, and you don't really express how exciting what we're doing is, then that feeds into this psychological narrative that is driven about webcomics as being not really real comics. And that's not true. But one of the reasons it exists is because we have to acknowledge that there is a problem where a lot of webcomics, particularly some of the other websites, are done in a way to where backgrounds are not as important. So what that does is it changes the relationship to the story, because the story has to feel lived in. If you're creating the content, again, for the reader and not for yourself, then you want to give them verisimilitude. You want to make, whether it's, think about Naruto and think about how real that world was, even though it's a complete fantasy world, right? I mean, when you saw the village, so much of Konoha felt lived in, right? He took great care for even determining certain things with you know, the way that the houses were built, you know, because obviously they're built, you know, it's like a valley inside of a mountain. So, you know, you get like a lot of stone structures, you get a lot of cracked rock, because you're walking on cracked rock. Like, go back and look at Naruto and you see all the detail he put into that. And by the way, yes, Kentaro Miura does his backgrounds. That's why, by the way, Berserk never comes out except for like once a year. But these are all facts, so, you know, so take them for what they are. But the thing about backgrounds, though, in my view, is that they're important, because I think that for you to really sell a story, you have to make it feel lived in. And when the characters are walking around blank environments, it doesn't feel lived in. Now, there's some artistic styles where that becomes really, you know, kind of, you know, it delivers you into this different reality. And because everything in it is so heightened and so different and so, you know, clearly not real, then, you know, it works, right? Comic strips are like this, right? You know, if you read Peanuts or you know, or Asterix, if you're overseas, you know, then you've seen, you know, that same thing, right? It's more heightened, it's kind of cartoonish, so you don't need to have all these detailed background and stuff. But I think for a lot of works that things are a bit more, you know, the stories are a bit more serious, the stakes are a bit higher, then you have to give them real detail, because that's what is required to really make the story feel as complete as possible. And webcomics, for technical reasons, and then also because a lot of the creators are amateurs, doesn't do that. And I think that's part of the reason why there's this sort of disconnect between companies and individuals who don't want to give the same credit to a hardworking webcomic creator as they do to traditional comic books. Traditional comic books, even if you think the artwork's not great, particularly in American comic books, they still have backgrounds. They're still putting you firmly into the environment. And, you know, I think webcomics have got to, I think SatAM pushes for this. I think a lot of webcomics in general have to find that pathway to get closer to connecting the reader to a real environment, and less about just trying to get them through a fast-paced story that they can flip on their phone with their thumb. Because one of those is going to last, and one is just going to kind of seem like disposable entertainment. And that's why I think webcomics are perceived as disposable entertainment. So anyway, that's the thoughts on it. But there's a lot of things to think about there regarding backgrounds. Let's go to Andrea on this one. Any general tips, Andrea, on world building?
Well, that pretty much connects to what you were saying earlier, that your backgrounds and your world needs to feel like it's lived in. Like, make it a world that the reader would want to enter, that it would feel real. And basically, you need to handle your world as if it was its own character, and dedicate the same amount of development and build up to your world as well as your characters.
Okay. Raymond, do you have anything to add to that about world building? Any tips on that?
Yeah. You know, you don't have to do it all at once. You know, like sometimes you see the mistake of new creators. They'll like hit you with this big, huge, long chunk of text telling you every little thing about their world on the first page or two, where it's kind of introduce it as needed, trickle it out throughout the story so that it's not so overwhelming, in the beginning, so that people can actually get behind it, apply, kind of what can mentally get behind the ideas that you're trying to induce in the world. So I just say take your time and introduce it slowly and naturally.
All right, and so Whyt, you want to add anything to that?
I think not really. I think they hit the nail on the head. Especially like trickling it out. It's the same thing with a character you introduce. You don't tell us everything about the character in the first page or in the first 2 pages. You kind of like let it come. You basically only give off the information that's necessary at the time of whatever is going on in the story right now. But obviously there's a lot more to consider when putting together a world building, the tradition of the world, the landscape, the cultures, how everything works, and you viewing yourself giving yourself the freedom to do things depending on what kind of world you're building, especially if it's like very fictional, giving yourself room to make up stuff as well and having fun with it. But I think for the most part, everyone's kind of hit the nail on the head. I will just put in there. I've made 2 videos about world building, and so they're like one's like 10 minutes long, one's like 30 minutes long. And you can just watch them, and they go in greater detail, I think. But for little chunks of answers, I think we're fine. If you want to know more, you know where to go. The online resources have always been a great. It's part of being a creator and taking advantage of the internet.
Folks, I want to give a special sticker to Whyt for that was a fantastic plug for his YouTube channel, WhytMangaTV. Raymond Brown.
Whyt is you can't ask him any question. You ask him any question, he has a video for it. But what time is it? I'm not answering that question. Watch my video.
My favorite part was how you started. Like, I think everybody answered it pretty well, but now if you really want the straight up,
my video answers it better. Link in the description below.
you know how many people email me about like questions that I've answered like a million times. So it's kind of like there's so many times I get a question, I'll just drop them a link. I'll just drop them a link. And if you really want to know, you watch the video.
I know it well. I get that literally every time we do anything with Saturday AM. I get the exact same question over and over again. I'm like, dude, clearly you're not a fan of ours. If you've never seen me talk about this stuff, the backstory conversation and plotting and all this stuff. I've talked about it so many times. I'm like, dude, when the magazine comes out, I love that question. When does your magazine come out? Dude, you clearly don't subscribe to us, but it's all good. That's why we're here, folks. We're answering your questions and giving you some things to think about. And folks, if you want additional information from Raymond about backgrounds, he has a new book coming out called Just Doing Backgrounds with Raymond Brown. Let's see here. Whyt, this is for you. It's for all the creators, but they basically are saying, look, big fan of yours. They have ideas in their head that when they try to go about, they want to see it one day as animation, and you guys know how I feel about that. But I draw up the character designs. I get scared to draw at all because my shading and knowing where to put details and stuff. Basically, long story short, this person's saying, look, they follow your website, they follow your YouTube, Whyt, they follow your advice and stuff, but they get frustrated with everything that they're doing, and they're trying to figure out what they can do, how they can advance. I think it's a deeper question, but I'm going to let you take a stab at it, and then we'll go from there. So feel free to address this young person.
I'll say that you kind of have to be patient, and it's good to know where your errors are on all fronts. It seems like you kind of know a little bit of what your errors are already, and I'll say work on those specifically, and maybe forget about your story for a second, right? And work on improving on that front. And then before you can resume on doing all the other stuff. I'll say that when it comes to comic creation, you need that true talk with yourself as to what you actually want to accomplish, and being realistic in how you want to achieve those things, coming up with a strategy and then executing. And here, if you clearly know what an issue is and what a problem is, and you're frustrated about it, I'll just say again, be patient, but then work on that specifically. And think in steps. And so I think the first step would be to fix that and address your frustrations. And again, that's what I'll say for that aspect of your question specifically. And going back into my WhytManga mode, there's a video on this. So there's a video where I talk about when are you actually ready to make comics or make manga, and create almost, it actually applies to anything. When are you actually ready to create? And that's when you've built a certain level of confidence and you know exactly what you're doing, right? If you just jump into it and you have holes in your blueprint, then it's all going to fall. If you don't have a strong foundation, it's all going to fall. So I highly recommend you check that video out. It actually did well. A lot of people liked it. And if you watch it, I answer probably all the questions you may have and more.
Yeah, look, I think, look, I think it's always great when people are being honest with themselves, and I think this young person is, being honest about the frustration they feel. I think, Raymond and I talk a lot about mental health when it comes to doing comics and stuff, and I always get very frustrated when I talk to young people who claim mental health issues because I take it very seriously. I'm a older person. I have my own struggles trying to run this company and manage, great creators like Whyt and other creators as well. So, it's things like this, where you can get depressed or something like this. To take a cue from Whyt, I talked about this in the episode of Saturday FM. Talk about the 5 traits for success. You should check out that episode. I think it's episode 3 or 4. But one of the things that I touched on in that is that I think one of the first things is that, and I've said this in many videos as well, folks, you are not entitled to a career in comic books. Like, I don't know why more people don't say this. I'm really stunned by this because it's not rocket science. You're not entitled to it because you like it, because you enjoy it, because you spend money on it, because, your mother, your father, your uncle, your friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your best friend told you could draw. Does not mean you're entitled to have a career at this. This is the realest talk you're going to hear, folks. We're not entitled to it. No one is entitled to it. This is the real world. I need people who can fix my roof, repair my air conditioner, people who can prepare my food if I go to a restaurant. I don't need someone's interpretation of manga. This is the real world. So don't get frustrated over things that are irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. If you do comics and what you produce you like and you enjoy them, and you're not worried about making money at it, you're not worried about having a career at it, you're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine because you've got the right mentality. It makes you happy. If you are doing this, you have the potential to be really good at it. You have the potential to excite a lot of people with it. You started out doing it for yourself and people started checking it out on some of these other webcomic sites or on your own website or on your Instagram, telling you, hey, I really like this. Why'd you stop drawing that? Keep drawing. I really like that. If you have the potential to excite a fan base, then yeah, keep at it. You shouldn't get frustrated then because you're touching people. But again, I don't know this person. If the question, and we see this a lot, is, I'm trying to create content, but every time I try to create content that I haven't even put out there for people to see, I dislike it, then I question if you understand the real world principle that you're not entitled to be a comic creator. Because if you're that worried about stuff that you don't even show other people, if you think there's going to be some way to look at things differently, if you beat yourself up that much over something that you should be doing because you love it, you got to question, are you really meant to be doing this? SatAM Submit, again, is all about existing webcomic creators. We're not trying to train you how to make webcomics. You already know how to make webcomics. We're looking for folks who do it and do it really well. And that we think that we can help them get an even bigger audience because they're inside of Saturday AM or Saturday PM or a new magazine. If you have talent, if you really believe this is something you want to try, then I recommend you try our fan art competitions like Fan Art Friday, which is coming soon in August, or March Art Manage, because at that moment, you get to challenge yourself to see if you're a really good artist. You get to compete for prizes against other artists. And that's a real test. That's not like, you got a couple of free likes on Instagram. That's a real test for real stakes. You're not going to lose your life. It's not going to make a difference whether or not you can pay your bills, but it's a good test. So I recommend you try that first. If you then think that you can tell a story, if you're like, I know I can draw. I've done a couple of these art competitions. People tell me I can draw really well. I've won a few things. So you know what? I want to give this a try. I love comics. I want to tell comic stories. Again, do it for yourself. Make sure that you're happy by it. But then enter our summer manga competition. Because the whole point of that is showing you can tell a story. Again, if your thought of the first time trying to do this is you're going to try to be like WhytManga or Andrea Doney or Raymond Brown, that you're going to create a character like Clock Striker or some of the other series that we have, if that's your first thought the first time you try to do this, then yeah, you may fail. Because you're not entitled to this. None of us are. The people who succeed at this, the Stephen Kings, the J.K. Rowlings, the Masashi Kishimoto's, the Akira Toriyamas, the people who succeed at this will be the first to tell you that they got lucky. They weren't entitled to success. They worked hard, be clear. But what they created just happened to catch on at the right time, at the right moment, and the rest is history. J.K. Rowling was struggling, single mother, before she created Harry Potter. Masashi Kishimoto had several series rejected before he created Naruto, the final version of Naruto. Stephen King had gotten many rejection letters before he created the seminal classics that he's known for, like It and Pet Sematary and you know, all the stuff he's done. Jim Lee is famous for talking about how many times he was rejected before he first got his chance to work at Marvel Comics. Please understand that just because you like us or like our creators or like our characters, you're not entitled to do this, period. So you work hard, you stay focused, you appreciate what you're able to do that puts a smile on your face. Rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat. Do it over again, do it over again, do it over again. And then guess what? Like WhytManga says, maybe 10 years later, you will be at such a level of proficiency that you can produce a couple of graphic novels like he's done. You can be a co-founder in a company. You can have a brand that's very, very popular like Apple Black. You can, you know, even amongst creators who are more popular than Whyt has still accomplished a great deal. But it doesn't happen overnight. None of this happens overnight. And none of this happens because this is what you want. It happens because you work hard. It happens because you're able to do it, and it puts a smile on your face. And it happens because at some point, a little bit of luck breaks your way. And that's the simple truth, folks. So again, with that, I want you guys to seriously think about SatAM Submit. We are so interested in discovering great creators from around the world, no matter what your orientation is, no matter how tall you are, no matter how overweight you are, no matter how skinny you are, no matter what your race is, your ethnicity, your creed, your nationality, your religion, your orientation. We don't care. SatAM is for everyone. And that everyone includes everyone listening to this.
More questions that were asked and more interesting answers given. So go check out the full live stream. We got more questions like...
So first question goes to WhytManga. Whyt, what are your favorite anime? In fact, I'm going to ask this for everybody, but what's your favorite anime? Let's see. Next question. Andrea Voros. I'm sorry, Andrea Doney. Did you ever submit your story to Shonen Jump? Well, this is a good question for all of you guys. When did you come up with the idea for the manga you produce? So we'll start with you, Whyt. When did you come up with the idea for Apple Black?
So for now, that's all, folks. Again, don't forget to like this video. Detroit, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you stay notified each time I upload absolutely anything. You know, check out SKILLSHARE. You can get 2 free months of SKILLSHARE. Links will be in the description. Links to everything you could possibly need will be in the description. All the Saturday AM stuff I just talked about will be linked in the description. All my social media will be linked in the description. Everything, frequently asked questions, you name it, will be linked in the description. Even speaking of live streams, I posted my first ever Twitch live stream, so I'm going to be posting more of those, and I'm going to be making sure the videos get better and better. So if you want to follow my Twitch and, you know, just kind of engage with me further on Twitch, please follow my Twitch. Links will be, you guessed it, in your house. No, I mean, it's in the description. Big shout out to my patrons. Without y'all, this would not be possible. And there'll be more videos coming this month. Stay tuned. Check out my other videos as well. It's WhytManga, and I'm out.